Hi everyone, welcome back to my kitchen. I am so excited for you to be here today. Cake decorating is my favorite part of baking, and we're going to be building a cake from start to finish. I have already posted my churro cake layers, my apple pie filling, and my spiced cream cheese buttercream. I'll get that right. And now we're going to build and decorate this cake, and it's so good and it's so pretty. Okay, I've got 3 6-inch rounds, and what I've done is I've anchored this bottom one on with a little bit of buttercream, and I set it in the freezer for just 3 or 4 minutes just so it won't slide around. And we are going to stack. First thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a thin layer of buttercream. This is like apple pie in cake form. It's just divine. Now I'm going to make a ring with the buttercream around the outside. And then I've got my apple pie filling right here. It's cooled. I've made it ahead of time. And if you feel like it's there's too much liquid in there, if that makes you nervous with the cake layer sliding around, just use a slotted spoon and just kind of drain it off a little bit if you want. And we're just going to put a layer of this apple pie filling. Okay, I've got my filling in there, and I'm going to stack my next layer on top. And I just get eye level with it to make sure it's lined up this way and this way. And I'm going to repeat that process. A thin layer of the buttercream along the bottom. And then I'll make that ring around the outside again. And get some more of this filling. And then for my top layer, I will always turn it upside down to give that clean edge. And I will get level with the cake. Okay, so kind of press down a little bit, get level, make sure the sides line up. Now, when I'm doing a wet filling like this, I am not gonna crumb coat it right now. It's gonna ooze out, it's gonna slide around, it makes me too nervous. I am gonna stabilize it though. I have 3 of these milkshake straws, and I'm just going to press them all the way down, and then I'm just gonna lift them up 1/4 of an inch, get my scissors, cut them off, and then press them down in. Now, I'm not going to do anything else to this cake except I'm going to stick it in the freezer for about 20 minutes because I want that filling to get completely solid so it won't slide around. All right, my cake has been in the freezer for a good 20 minutes, so it's going to be nice and stable and ready to crumb coat. So I'm just gonna pipe around in between the layers there just to make sure they get filled in. So the purpose of the crumb coat is just to seal in all the crumbs. However, the way this cake bakes, it has a nice smooth edge, and then also because it's been in the freezer, you're just not going to have a lot of crumbs to worry about. I'm going to, so I hold the bottom of this just on the inside of that 6-inch board, so it goes right up against the cake. And then with this extra buttercream, I'll fill in any missing spots. This does not have to be perfect or pretty. We're just sealing the crumbs in and just getting it fairly smooth. If you see any crumbs, see, I see some crumbs right there. So all I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna kind of pull them off, and then I'll just cover with some more buttercream. go around again. And then I'll just get my offset spatula and just kind of pull it in. Get the top. Now this will go back in the freezer for at least 10 minutes. All right, my crumb coat is nice and chilled and I'm ready to do my outer coat. Now I'm going to show you two different ways to do a decorative edge, like not just a smooth edge, we're gonna do a decorative edge. The first way I'm going to show you, if you don't have a fancy cake comb, you can do this decorative edge with just a simple flat spatula. If you do want to find these cake combs, just Google cake combs, or there's a website I like called Evil Cake Genius that sells a lot of these on Instagram. There's a girl called Shop the Flower Girl, F-L-O-U-R, sells these. There's lots of different places you can find those. So I'm going to show you two different ways to do the decorative edge. But first thing we have to do is get our outer coat mostly smooth. It does not have to be perfect, but it's just easier to get these edges looking just right if you have a smoother outer coat. And you want a pretty thick layer for this texture that we're going to do. When I do my outer coat, I cover that board. I make sure I go on the outside of that little cardboard round. Okay, we're just going to get a straight cake scraper and just go around. I'm not looking for it to be perfect. I just want any major big gaps filled in. A question I get asked all the time is, how do I get rid of the air bubbles in my buttercream? And the answer is, the more you scrape and patch, the smoother the buttercream will become. You can see mine has a lot of air bubbles through here. And there were even more even after just the first pass. So you just have to keep working with it, scraping, patching. It doesn't happen in just one swipe. You have to do it several times. So I'm just gonna do one more pass just to get most of the air bubbles out so I can show you the first textured technique. Let's do one more pass. Okay. All right, the first way is just kind of a beveled edge, and I just have my straight spatula, and I'm gonna have a bowl or something with an edge that I can scrape the excess off. You'll see what I mean. So I'm just going to start at the bottom, and with that round edge, just press in softly. And I'm going to kind of spiral up, and when I get a lot of buttercream on the tip, I'll just wipe it off and start where I left off. You just want to barely overlap the layer underneath, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. And you're going to go all the way up past the top of the cake. So you're pushing that buttercream up on top. And then if you see any like big chunks of buttercream that you don't like, just kind of gently pull them off. That's not a big deal. And if you see air bubbles, you can just go over it. You can kind of go over it again and get those out. But anyway, you have just this pretty textured kind of beveled look all the way up. And then you would just get your spatula and just pull the top in to get your flat edge on top. Okay, so there's that first technique. Don't worry about the top being smooth. We're gonna cover it with a drip But now I'm going to smooth this out and show you how it looks with a cake comb. So the first thing I'm going to do is just put back a little bit of the buttercream that I scraped off. This is actually really cool. It is worth investing in a cake comb with a decorative edge. There's another one. This one you can use this side and it will make indentations. This one has a bigger scallop on the edge. These cake combs are for if you want to do stripes, which I'll show you that technique in a future video. There's lots. But if you were going to just get one, I would get one with the scalloped edge. I think it's the easiest to work with, and I think it looks really cool. Get it smooth again. Patch any big holes or air bubbles. You want a little pressure, not too much, and I just look over here to make sure I'm vertical and put pressure from top to bottom and just gently go around your cake. And already that just looks so cool. Now you're still going to have a few little places to patch. Not a big deal. Or if there was a place where you didn't quite put enough pressure, just put some buttercream over the top. You're not going to ruin it. Just find any places where you need to patch it up. And I want to start with a mostly clean cake comb again. So I'll usually just wipe off the excess buttercream and then we'll go again. I'm going to patch one more time. You may have to do this. I've had to do this several times before to get it just right. It takes a little practice. So if you don't get it on the first 2 or 3 passes, just keep going. There we go. I think that should do it. I think we got it. That's pretty close to perfect. And then again, same thing. I'm gonna get my offset spatula and just gently pull it in. It's rare I leave the top of the cake just plain like this. So don't worry about it being, you want it, as level as you can get it, but don't worry about it being perfectly smooth or having little gaps, because I usually cover it with some sort of swirls or a drip. That's perfect. Okay, back in the freezer. While we're going to make a white chocolate cinnamon ganache drip. All right, while that is sitting in the freezer, we are going to make our cinnamon white chocolate drip. And all you're going to need is some heavy whipping cream, I like to use the bright white candy melts. White chocolate chips would work also. But I just like the color of these and the consistency. And then a little bit of cinnamon. So I'm going to start with about just a couple tablespoons of heavy whipping cream. The ratio when you're using white chocolate or colored candy melts that are white chocolate flavored is about 4 to 1. However, you can adjust as you go. If you want a thicker drip that has the little bubbles at the end, I will add more chocolate. If you want a thinner drip that runs all the way down, you'll have more cream in there. I'm just gonna heat this up a little bit for like 12 seconds. It's just going to be warm, and then I'm going to add it looks like a lot of chocolate chips or a lot of candy melts and not enough cream, but it will come together just right. To speed the process along, I'm going to microwave this, but only for about 9 or 10 seconds at a time. But you don't want to overheat it or your chocolate will seize. Okay, we're getting there, and let me show you the consistency that I'm going for. I want it a little bit thicker. I don't like it to run all the way down to the end. It's kind of pouring off of my spoon fairly quickly. For me, that's just a little too thin. I'm just gonna add a few more candy melts and we go back in the microwave. You can adjust it as you go until you get the consistency you want. And if you're doing a chocolate, like a dark chocolate drip, the ratio is about 2 to 1. You need more cream for whatever reason. That's better. Okay, we're melting. That's how I kind of like it to drop off my spoon, just a little bit. Now, just gonna add a little bit of cinnamon. If you want a lighter color, just add a little bit. If you want a really dark cinnamon color, add a little bit more. I'm going for maybe just the tiniest bit more. And we're going to go in our drip bottle. Okay, we're ready to drip. However, I'm just gonna clean up the bottom of my board just a little bit. I will just get my spatula and just kind of scrape off any buttercream. It's easy to do when it's frozen. So freeze it and then clean it up. It's not hard to do. I'll get the rag in there too and just right up to the edge of that. Good to go. Okay, we are ready to drip. The best part of the cake. Okay, one of the best part of the cakes. Hold it at a 45-degree angle. Make sure all of it gets down to the tip. And just more pressure if you want longer drips, less pressure for shorter. And then just take the rest and go around. I love the monochrome look of this cake. It's just like so elegant. And I'm gonna get my spatula and just kind of spread it out right to the edge there. Cover the top. Work kind of quickly. That white chocolate freezes really hard, sets really fast. And then for the swirl, start at the outer edge and spiral in. There we go. That looks pretty. Don't ever put swirls on top of your drip immediately because the drip is still warm and the swirls will just slide right off. So we're gonna go back in the freezer for just 3 to 5 minutes. All right, the last part of the cake, we're going to decorate with some rosettes and just little different piping swirls on top. Just for added decoration, I have these little crisp pearls. They're just white chocolate, kind of crispy, totally optional. And you can go ahead and do swirls or you can do the rope border that I've shown you before. But for this, we're just gonna mix it up a little bit. I'm gonna do some rosettes. Just around the top. I'm just gonna space them out randomly. I'm not going for any particular pattern or anything. I'll do two close together. Maybe a small one there. And then I'm gonna use my 4B tip and just kind of fill in some of the spaces. There's no right or wrong way for this, just however you want to do it. If you wanted to do all rosettes, that would be really pretty. And then with that same tip that did the rosettes, I'm just gonna make stars by not twisting it at all, just piping and lifting. And I think we're good, I like it. Maybe just a couple more right there on the just for fun. Just some of these little crispy pearls to go along with the white chocolate flavor theme that we have. There we go. Okay, so there is our monochromatic cinnamon churro cake with apple pie filling. It is elegant, it is beautiful, and it tastes so good. So I'd love to have you try this at home. And if you're on Instagram, send me pictures or tag me in your stories. I'd love to see you try this out and give it a try. Anyway, thanks for being here with me today. Make sure to subscribe to my channel for more tutorials like this one.